Hello, it's me again. I painted a self-portrait. There was a quote that rang true in my mind as I made this, and it's a quote from Philippe Cousteau, which you'll probably notice there's an aspect of this painting actually in the painting, a bit of paintingception. But the quote goes that there's lots of people in the studio with you when you're making art. Critics, peers, family, friends, artists of the past, the present. And one by one, they walk out. And if you're really painting, you walk out. That saying, it's so true. I find when I'm purely present, I walk out of the studio. And sometimes I find myself observing the artwork as if it's just making itself. It's like I've made so much art that my subconscious takes over, and I can kind of just watch it manifest. They say a picture can paint 1,000 words, but how about tens of thousands of moving pictures on an old Sony VHS tape recorder? That's what you're looking at right now. Art's one of those unique pursuits that you have to constantly practice humility. It's very introspective, especially a self-portrait. There's lots of decisions that go into painting a self-portrait. How you want to paint it, how you want to look, what style, what you want to represent. You know, it's very revealing of one's personality. The paintings you make tend to look back at you. A sense of self is always watching, observing each mark made in time. It's raining, as you can probably hear. Well, it's 3 o'clock now. Got my little afternoon coffee in my Sinchan thermos. I'm entering into the Sky Portrait Awards. I'm in my era of chucking shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. Not that my work is shit, but I mean that in a loose sense. Not loose shit, but in the loose sense of throwing stuff. Just making do, seeing what happens. So, as you can see, I've already done quite a bit. Why am I doing this? I think I might make this a running thing of painting myself, or attempting to paint myself once a year at least. As a nice kind of time freezing quality of painting yourself and viewing things you're thinking about, ideas around painting. You probably can't hear me. Come closer. They say that art has that universal quality of stating, I am here. Here I am, I exist. You could say a self-portrait is the most direct line to that thought. It goes back as far as those handprints on cave walls. I recently finished a collaboration with Dinner for 100 at Hootenanny's Brixton. I did this mural. I was working that whole wet month of February we had at the start of the year. Besides pizzas, I was painting people, many of whom actually worked on site either at Hootenanny's or D400. Here's a little behind the scenes of me doing some of the finishing touches. Art can be a very solitary pursuit, but I love it when you can share it and see it functioning in a public setting. So I'm trying to manifest more of this. It's nice to be back in the studio, just working on the quiet stuff. My reference photo. I never know how thick to do the eyelashes. Where does our sense of self reside? Are you in your mind, body, soul, senses, or wherever your attention settles? Our eyes are windows into the home of our understanding. Understood often by looking at the window's reflection in others. If each of us are a blank canvas, then we take on the brush marks of others, consciously or otherwise. Your parents might prepare the palette, but you choose how to paint yourself. The biggest brush marks are made from those closest to us. I tend to surround myself with the objects that remind me of that fact. Take this hat, for example. Originally my dad's, it's sentimental for me for the Muttley motif. A memory of watching VHS tapes at my grandma's house with my brothers. I think it was Dastardly and Muttley. We are all layers of experience. Much like this smock. You can barely see the Quicksilver logo now. Sometimes we cover up bits, but it will still show through. Even if not visually, the bumps will affect the lines on top. Another object I've included is this mug, a gift from my mother. It holds the creative potential of my brushes, much like she did for 9 months before we were born. The Sylvanian frog not only connects me to my niece, but also some of my earliest memories in London. We used to walk to our neighbours and play. In many ways, I'm still a kid. Professional player, if you will. That sounds wrong. I'm playing with the artists of the past. Art's just one big conversation you get to continue just by creating. It's a silent conversation. The words are pigment, made in the sentences of brushstrokes on a canvas. Picture paints 1,000 words. I suppose those words are almost books. Part of a really big trilogy? Infinitrilogy? Big old book of life, book of art. It's ever growing, and you can turn to any chapter and pick up wherever they left. The marks of a life lived make up the fabric of our reality. So here's my canvas, my self-portrait, layered in the lives lived of the loved ones I live for. It's me. Does it look like me? Can I zoom?